What if I told you that rock and roll was born in West Virginia? No, really. The man who invented the roll in rock and roll was born in Fairmont, West Virginia on July 8, 1924. I'm talking about Johnnie Johnson. Johnnie Johnson was known as the best boogie-woogie pianist of his era, and later, he gave future Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and guitarist Chuck Berry his big break when he asked Chuck to join the Johnnie Johnson Trio. It was Chuck's rhythmic and percussive guitar playing style that added the rock to Johnson's swing and roll that went on to make American music history. First, we're going to rock, then we're going to roll a little bit. At the Johnnie Johnson Jam, we'll be getting our groove on with a little bit of country living and a lot of Appalachian soul as we pay tribute to Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and rock and roll pioneer Johnnie Johnson. The soulful sounds will be flowing through the mountains like the mighty Monongahela River in Johnson's hometown of Fairmont, West Virginia. With performances by the Pennsylvanians, the Heavy Hitters, Everyday Everybody, and a special tribute to Johnnie Johnson by yours truly, Appalachian Soul man Aristotle Jones.
They were doing this here before it was even really Palatine Park, before the amphitheater was here. It's kind of a flat piece of land, and they were doing it back then, so happy that we've been able to keep it alive for all these years. We're, I think, a couple blocks from where he used to live, so, you know, it's just a neat thing, and it's a good tradition to keep alive for Fairmont and Marion County, West Virginia.
Mr. Mooney Suggs, a Fairmont resident, and I'm so proud that my parents knew Johnnie Johnson. Just about everybody in my neighborhood knew Johnnie Johnson, but back then also they had juke joints, so you know, they heard in that place. My parents, they was really close, and I can remember them saying as I was growing up that they knew he was something different at the time. They just knew it. They said what was so wonderful is that, you know, he came from small beginnings.
To be on that stage and to be playing the music, I just felt like I was transitioned back into that space. It's an amazing experience playing those licks, playing the music. I felt like I was really embraced by the spirit and the soul of original rock and roll. Such a great appreciation for the musicians, their musicianship. As a guitarist, the fingering that these guitarists use to get those notes. I really feel like I'm learning my history over and relearning who I am as a musician and a guitarist.
It's very inspirational to see how far somebody from the same town has gone. It was very humbling learning those parts. He's an amazing piano player, and it's really something I haven't done a lot of, what he's doing with his hands, especially the left hand. There's a lot of cool stuff there.
Who's on my Mount Rushmore for West Virginia musicians? Well, for me, it's got to be artists like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame funk and soul man Bill Withers. And don't forget the original Johnny B. Goode, Johnnie Johnson. It's kind of wild to me to hear artists like Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones and Eric Clapton talking about how much Johnnie Johnson's music actually influenced their music. His boogie-woogie style of piano playing put the roll in rock and roll. It went on to inspire the early music of the British invasion. Honestly, I don't think music would sound the same today without the contributions of Johnnie Johnson.
I tell you what, it's just so cool to know how much history this place has in the history of rock and roll. Respects to Johnnie Johnson. You know, it's so funny because like people don't understand how lots of times pioneers get lost. You know, and they mistaken it, or history gets twisted and they think, oh, it was actually this person. And everybody has a story, and stories are always different. But to know Johnnie Johnson, the one that really kicked it off, and to be here and share the beauty of music with all these great people, all these beautiful acts, it's really honestly a pleasure, and we're happy to be here.
My favorite songwriter, Bill Withers. We're still all part of that Appalachian region. You know, those mountain regions go through our state as well, so you can feel the history, culture. There's a lot of music, different vibes, but all the same vibe, man. It's all love.
That's right. The man who inspired Johnny B. Goode, the hit song that had millions of American teeny boppers going wild, was none other than Johnnie Johnson, who was born and raised right here in Fairmont, West Virginia. Johnny's swinging style of boogie-woogie piano playing went on to become the roll in rock and roll, and his piano playing was featured on songs like Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, and many other hits. As the Appalachian Soul man, I know I owe so much to the musical contributions of West Virginia native and Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Johnnie Johnson.
Honestly, it was amazing being here at Palatine Park, rocking out with all the acts that were before us and the ones that are coming after us. It made me feel something inside, something I was bringing something from the past to something new that we have. and it just felt good to be able to bounce with the music.
All right, so as a pianist, this is a dream come true, because if you get to know the story and the people that Johnnie Johnson got his hands in as a pianist, he changed the game. You can go anywhere and find some great pianists out here, and they're all influenced by that Johnnie Johnson boogie woogie style. And that comes from just being in West Virginia and being in small churches where you got to play the left hand and the right hand and keep rhythm. It's a part of the lifestyle. We need to pay homage to cats like Johnnie Johnson, cats like Bill Withers every year, because people don't know where they came from. They don't know the influence. They definitely don't know the influence of how Johnnie Johnson has done, especially with people like Chuck Berry, who you could turn on Maybelline right now and everybody knows that song. But nobody knows that the influence of Johnnie Johnson was from that era.
You know, a lot of guys are more into the rock. I'm more into the roll myself. Johnnie Johnson's a legend, you know, right alongside all the piano legends and funk and soul keyboard legends that are heroes of mine. We harken back to a lot of that kind of music, including West Virginia heroes like Bill Withers, you know, all the music that comes out of this state. So I'm very happy to be playing here today.
Yeah, you know, like I think about like what we learn about juke joints and an area like this where music runs literally through everywhere. All these musics, whether it's funk, soul, blues, everything that we put into our music, it's all coming from soul. And I think that, you know, when we come here, it just reminds me of that coming from the earth, literally. And so again, I go back to the gathering, and people coming together just reminds us of how important it is to connect to things that are most natural. That feeds our music. And so for us, like, again, I can't say, I mean, we love this stage. We love playing here. Everyone's so nice to us. Yeah, just happy to be part of this history.
Well, like I said, just honoring Johnnie Johnson, keep celebrating Johnny, keep bringing in new bands, time to pass together with the future, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, there's a lot of towns that can't say that. It's just a neat thing, and it's a good tradition to keep alive for Fairmont and Marion County, West Virginia.
Johnnie Johnson passed away in 2005, but the legacy of the country blues pianist from Fairmont, West Virginia, and his contributions to rock and roll history were on full display at the Johnnie Johnson Jam as we paid tribute to the original Johnny B. Goode. Remnants of his rolling piano playing style can still be found in many contemporary music genres, tucked within samples, riffs, and licks from everything from country to jazz to hip hop to blues. And while his music career landed him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Johnnie Johnson's most significant contribution to American culture may just be in breaking racial barriers in the military as a Montford Point Marine. There he endured racism and inspired social change while integrating the previously all-white Marine Corps during World War II, and he was posthumously awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Johnnie Johnson's story is better than good, and it's one that we can't let fade to history. So let's keep the rock rolling for Johnnie Johnson.